Here with Catamount head coach Jim Clifton, and we've talked sort of off the air a little bit about how much talent is coming in. What do you look for from this newcomers class gelling with this team in the offseason? Looking forward to day one.
Well, it's a process that you usually plan to try to do all sorts of things to make happen. And what was fun about this is it kind of took care of itself. We certainly had our team building activities and that kind of stuff like every other team, but I mean it just was. It feels like we built on a foundation that we came from last year, and the new ones coming in just added a nice little flavor to that, and so we're pretty excited about it. The way I describe it to anybody that wants to stop and listen for 2 seconds is I've got a high character team, and with that I feel like it gives us a lot of advantages.
You talk about the foundation you built last year, and really, we've talked about it before, is only really, you could argue, an inning or two from playing for a ring a year ago. But how does the success you had, especially against a team like Appalachian State a year ago, come into this season and give you confidence going forward?
Well, that was a huge game for us in the tournament, and obviously it was for them as well. They were leaving; that was their last game in the Southern Conference, and that was it felt good. It felt good to, obviously, I think I said it in the tournament when we were talking that, it's you love to hate them and they love to hate us kind of thing. We just love playing them. They're great competitors, and I'm sure we'll play them again in the future as a non-conference opponent. But getting to play them their last game and beating them was really big for us. And, you take things like that, and we felt that we competed in the tournament the whole way through, and, we certainly didn't win the number of games we would have liked to, but we took a lot from last season. We lost 2 seniors last year, and so as far as personnel, we added the newcomers, and we feel like we truly are on a building block. We've got a foundation we're building on. We're not trying to find the foundation. We're not trying to build a foundation. We've got the foundation, and we're working from there, and that puts us in it just really feels good to have a team that's all in, that's bought in, and is committed.
And how does it feel coming into your senior year, knowing you get to catch one of the better pitchers, if not the best pitcher in the Southern Conference, and Jordan Garrett, and the staff as a whole, Courtney Buchanan, who's gotten a lot better as well? What do you look for behind the plate as far as the pitcher's growth and the camaraderie you have, especially with Jordan?
Well, I love our battery. It's awesome. Jordan and I have been working together now for 4 years, and I'm just excited to see her experience out there. She's got more experience than most people in the SoCon, and she's definitely leading it in that aspect. And I'm ready to see more strikeouts, her breaking more records, of course. And Courtney Buchanan, I'm really excited to see her maturity throughout the years as she starts to get ready to pitch this year. Yeah.
Here with Taylor Sigmund. And Taylor, first of all, preseason all-conference honors this year. What does that mean to you going into a new season?
I mean, it's obviously exciting, but I'm just excited in general about the year and this team. We've got 2 JUCOs that we transferred in, and then we've got a bunch of freshmen too that are all extremely talented, and so I'm just looking forward to a new team and a new year, and it's just really exciting. You
mentioned the newcomers. What are some of the things that they bring on and off the field from this team a year ago?
We got some great bats, which is awesome. That makes me really excited just to have some power in our lineup, and there's a lot of athletic ability too with the freshmen. They're diving all over the field, working their butts off at practice, and the JUCO. So we've all been really working hard, and you can tell it's going to be a fight for the spot. So it's going to be awesome.
Going from the preseason into the regular season here shortly, what is the biggest challenge for you personally as one of these newcomers trying to fit in and make a difference on this team?
Just trying to find my spot where I am, I guess, and improving my work, changing my swing up, even though it can be hard. I mean, you just got to stick with it, and it'll eventually come. You just got to stay confident and keep pushing forward, I guess.
Heather and Taylor have talked about some of the veteran leadership on this team and how they think as a unit together, the camaraderie on this team is really spectacular. Do you feel that as a freshman as well?
Yeah, it's being a freshman, it's kind of weird because you don't know really what the structure is and all, but I mean, you look up to them, and they're just a guide for you to be there. I mean, to kind of just a shoulder to lean on.
And you look at this team from a year ago and the building blocks that both you and your players have talked about, but this year it seems like everyone's talking, well, maybe this is the year of the Catamounts. Obviously a tough Southern Conference schedule. The conference is smaller, but certainly not a lack of talent in the Southern Conference.
Yeah, you could argue you lose a great team like Georgia Southern, who's won the last 2 or 3 regular season championships and won a couple of the tournaments. And last year they didn't win the tournament, but won the conference. And you think, well, we've weakened. You know, year before that we lost College of Charleston. That's always up in the top 3, and well, we've weakened. You know, I don't see that happening. We've actually we're a much smaller conference, so every game is going to be critical. But bringing in Mercer, bringing in ETSU, I think you're going to find that it's going to be a tougher. You know, taking everything into account, it's going to be a tougher conference to be a champion of. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, we feel like we're better, but we think we just stepped into a tougher conference and we didn't go anywhere. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes.
And every coach talks about sort of the 3 seasons, the postseason, your conference season, and your non-conference season. And a lot of times you use your scheduling and non-conference to build you up for conference play. A lot of tough teams on the slate. Again, you've historically done that. Another trip down to South Carolina where Taylor and Heather specifically says, we want to get back down there and beat them this time. They felt like they let one get away. Another trip to UVA and opening the season at Chapel Hill. What does a tough non-conference slate like that do as far as getting you ready for conference and the confidence of this team as a whole?
Well, I think it's huge. You know, it's dangerous. I mean, if you don't do well, you can go into conference on a real down. And it's interesting. You know, I've seen some, you can see some of the records of some of our conference teams. Our schools will have some big preseason stuff and beat some big teams, and then it's every game's a battle and a struggle, and you'd think that, well, they would have an easy time in conference. And something about conference is special, and I imagine every conference is that way. I know ours is as well. And so you know, you want to go out there and show well. You know, I think the thing that we're excited about our preseason schedule is it isn't a cakewalk. I don't do that. I for better or worse, I don't do that. And but you know, I think the other thing I can tell with this team, with the coaching staff, we're not going around, well, we want to compete with the big dogs. We want to compete with the ACC. We want to compete with the SEC. You know, we now feel like we walk in there and you know, this is going to be a game, and we just might as well take the win.
Well, and Coach, one more before we let you go. If there was a word or phrase you could use to describe this team before this season gets underway, what is it?
Tenacity. They show it in practice. You know, we push the idea that there is no such thing as a practice. There's no such thing as a practice at bat, a practice pitch, a practice ground ball. You need to take every pitch, every ball as a championship ball, as a championship play. And that maybe take a little imagination when you're sitting in a hitting off of a tee, but they've bought into that. They're understanding that you can't come out here and, you know, mail in a practice and expect to be able to play at your best. And so they come out here day in and day out. It's been a little chilly. They've been out here in the cold. They've been out playing, and there's not a complaint. They're getting dirty. They're playing hard. They're putting in extra swings. It's a very tenacious group right now.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time, and it should be a fun season.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That was Jim Clift here on our 2015 softball preview show. It should be a fun season for all the players joining us. I'm Kyle Rush saying so long for now from Catamount Softball.